Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
There have been dozens of reports of an upsurge in race hate crime and racist graffiti since the Brexit vote. Shouts of "go home" and worse, directed at people in the streets, slogans echoing that sentiment, sneakily sprayed on walls. Victims have spoken of how surprised they were that the racist comments were so aggressive. One said her neighbours told her they don't want her living in her street. There have been calls for extra vigilance from the police. Porrick O'Brien has this and a warning his report does contain some abusive language and behaviour which some viewers may find distressing.
At 7:40 this morning, the tram to Market Street, Manchester. The everyday backdrop makes the full abusive onslaught even more unbearable to watch.
Get back to Africa. Listen, the youngins who are doing you little muppet, don't you are extremely ignorant and not very intelligent. Do you know that? Get off the tram now. Get off the tram now. Get off the tram then.
A group of 3 young men turn on Juan Hasso, a university lecturer from America, after he confronts them for using foul language.
What are you, 16? Get off with a bottle of beer. 7 years in the military.
7 years in the US Army, made of tough stuff, visibly shaken. The crowd turn on the men as they leave the tram.
You can please, you can go.
This afternoon, Manchester police arrested 3 young men on suspicion of a fray. Again, the question today, is this type of incident more likely to have happened post the referendum result? Manchester police have not reported an increase in hate crimes. The Met in London, where this Polish centre was targeted, also have not reported an increase. Nationally, though, a website where people can report hate crime online has seen an increase. From Manchester to Margate, though, in places where there are large numbers of immigrants, a sense of nervousness and uncertainty. Being on the receiving end of one of these racist attacks is, of course, a deeply personal, painful affair. It is worth pointing out that what we're seeing over the last few days isn't particularly unusual. During times of national and international upheaval, there's always, unfortunately, a spike in the number of race hate crimes reported. And what we've seen over the last 3 or 4 days is similar to similar sorts of incidents we've seen over the last number of years. Whether it's the referendum or whether it's the barrage of anti-immigrant media coverage in the run-up to it, for some, the result has compounded a feeling of isolation, a sense of disconnection from the country they moved to. Take, for example, this elderly lady from Germany during a phone-in today.
Well, I'm so scared. I haven't been out of the house for 3 days because I don't know what to do.
Last night we broadcast images of England fans ripping up European flags and being racist. Secretly filmed during the European Championships. A minority spoiling it for the rest. We're out of the tournament. The minority, it would seem, still at it though.
Porrick O'Brien reporting when, and the man targeted of abuse on that tram was Juan Hasso. I spoke with him just before the programme and began by asking him how he felt about what had happened to him this morning.
Well, it was a bit of a surreal moment because initially it was just me asking those individuals just to watch their language. Obviously it was really early in the morning, there was children about, and I could tell from other people's faces on the tram that they didn't really appreciate the language that they were using. So I thought I'd step up and say something, and I didn't really appreciate it either. And it's obviously escalated to what it has now.
I mean, obviously, you challenged these people, as you say, but would you advocate others doing the same, or is there a danger they might have got hurt?
Well, it's down to the individual to recognize if they're, obviously willing to challenge something. I mean, I knew myself that if I was going to challenge this, that I was probably going to be on my own, and I didn't feel threatened at all. But obviously, you don't know what can happen from a situation whenever you challenge anyone, because you don't know who they are, their background or anything, or how they're going to react. So it's up to the best interests of the individual just to make up their own mind on whether or not it's worth them challenging somebody.
I'm asking an American who's living here, and we're delighted to have you, I must say. But I'm just wondering whether you feel that it is the political atmosphere surrounding this extraordinarily tense issue of Brexit that created the atmosphere in which this happened.
I think there was an undertone there before this Brexit and the voting within the referendum, but I think the result maybe has pushed people to somehow justify that they think it's okay now to act out in this way, which obviously it's not. It's not acceptable in any terms, in any way, shape or form, because obviously people feel threatened by it, and people are coming here to contribute, and no matter what anybody says, they have that right to come here and choose to live here, and they shouldn't be discriminated for that.
I don't know how long you've been living here in Manchester, for example. Have you had a sense that there is a lot of racial abuse?
Not necessarily in this area. I mean, I've not been in Manchester very long, but I have lived in the UK for almost 18 years now, and I do consider this place home. And I've never really experienced that much. I have in the past, but I think this is maybe only the second incident in 18 years.
To all intents and purposes, then, you are British, so I'm just wondering, has this in any way affected your sense of your now homeland?
It hasn't affected me in any way, shape or form, because I mean, I have a little girl here now, and this is now I consider my home. And I've got many friends here. I've got friends who I consider family. I know a lot of people here, and this place for me is now my home. So